Well, you've officially done it. You've joined it, and for us, and for another version. Oh my gosh, I'm screwing it all up. You've joined us for another episode of Coffee with Humans, live with my new friend Mark Smith. Mark, welcome to Coffee with Humans.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Jason. How are you?
I've got a cold today. It's like this head thing that turned into sort of a congestion thing. So I'm getting over it. But all in all, it's a good day. God is good. And I'm happy to be alive. The sun came up today, which it turns out may not be automatic. It may be caused to come up. That's a topic though we could get into. Well, so I do need to cover this. I don't know you from anybody. For our new viewers and listeners, the whole thing about Coffee with Humans is I meet my guests just a couple minutes before we go live. We talk about something insignificant and tech checks. And so Mark, I don't even know where you're at in the world. So, and why you would choose to click the button to have coffee with me. So cover those two things for me, please.
Well, I'm in a city called Laurel, Maryland. They call us Midtown. I'm 13 miles north to Baltimore, 13 miles south to Washington D.C. So I'm right there in that pocket in the middle to where I can go north, go traffic north, or super traffic south, which is my choice. And I wanted to have an opportunity to not only have coffee with you, but share some dialogue with you, share some dialogue with the listeners, and just kind of get on a reformatting shape as we get ready to change and close out 2021, which has been a crazy year for a lot of people, and tune it up and get ready for 2022.
Yeah, it has been a crazy year for a lot of people. Crazy good, depending on how you look at it. Mm-hmm. And I think some people use struggle and a lot of change for good purposes. They move their lives forward. It's like sort of a springboard. And then some people don't. I think I've been reasonably successful using it as a springboard for positivity and good things, but time will tell. And I didn't even process that we're kind of coming to the end of the year until you were like, hey, you know what, we're coming to the end of the year. We got to close this thing out. And I like, oh, that's kind of a downer.
Yeah, my grandkids keep reminding me we're getting close to Christmas, Poppy. We're getting close to Christmas. So yeah, I know. End of the year. So they remind me that it's coming sooner than I think. So
right. Well, I'm right outside Chicago, in a little town called Rockford. We are either the second or third largest city in Illinois, depending on the year, I guess. But it's a big little town. So happy to meet you and great to have you on. Now, I did one of the things I did ask you before the broadcast was I said he needed to name this chat, and you told me growth, which is it's a broad topic, and so maybe frame that for us here as we're having our coffee chat. What growth are you talking about?
Well, I think we're talking about mentally, spiritually, emotionally, but I take words such as that and I create acronyms out of them. And starting for example, we're talking about growth, and I say that growth for me it's a gradual reminder. Obstacles will test hope. It's growth. So I take a reflection of looking back at some of the things that have gone on in my journey, my wisdom years. I'm not gonna say old wisdom years, and go back and reflect what they meant to me, and how they have designed me to move into some levels of things that I'm truly called to do. And it's like everybody else, it's a roller coaster, man. It's a lot of ups, a lot of downs, a lot of tears, a lot of joys, all through putting it all together. But I think once you sit down and you go through each step of it, you realize that it really wasn't that bad, was it? It was just an obstacle that tested my hope. And I just I definitely view it in that magnitude, along with a lot of the other acronyms that I write on as well.
Sure. Okay. So, what was the acronym?
Growth, gradual reminder, obstacles.
Gradual reminder, obstacles will test hope.
Mm-hmm.
Gradual reminder, obstacles will test hope. I love that. Mm-hmm. I think that is, that's super profound. Now, hope. That's the word I hear in that. Mm-hmm. Talk to me about hope.
Man, it's truly believing that there's something that is greater than you, something that is more profound than you, something that is a reason behind. I have a podcast where I it's called The Process. And inside the process, I started off with something as simple as what I call the foundation. And inside the foundation, it was geared to kind of break down things for what I thought were things that were instrumental and common in a lot of people's lives. And how do we go from step A to step Z and try to make sense of the things that we've gone through? And one of the things that was consistent, Jason, that just blew me away, that I, again, which is what I said, if I only knew then what I know now, is that there hasn't been one time when there hasn't been a situation that's come into my life that I didn't get through. And when I analyze my friends and families and analyze people that I know, I tell them the same thing. You are 100% going to get through that situation. The outcome may not have been what you thought it was going to be, but it's different. A lot of times that is the case. However, it is still something that allowed you to. It made you a better person once you went through, and you got through it. So your percentage of getting through is 100%. What more can you ask for?
All right, I like that. Your percentage of getting through is 100%. I mean, you can't argue with that. So that it reminds me of a saying, and this is pretty true. And people will take exception with it, I think. But the saying is, you are exactly where you are supposed to be in this moment, right? You are exactly where you're supposed to be. It doesn't mean you wanted to be here, but it is in fact where you are, and it is exactly where you are supposed to be. Then there's this opportunity. What are you going to do with that? And I think that gets back to your acronym. So let's say this moment is the obstacle moment. Then it's designed to test your hope. The hope is after the obstacle. The hope is in the future, right? So what are you going to do with this moment that moves you forward to your hope? I think it's the question, right?
That's a huge question, but I think it also, that will drive it, for me personally, it drove me back to accountability.
Okay.
It really made me take a look at two words. I would say accountability for taking ownership of why I'm in where I'm at. Then to get to the next level, it's that acceptance. Because see, you can't go anywhere. You can't do anything to accept where you are to have the ability to test that hope. So it's those two tangible things. Is okay. Yeah, I'm here. I'm dealing with this obstacle. I know it's an obstacle. I'm gonna fight through this obstacle. So now that I've accepted it and acknowledged it, now it's time for me to take those next steps and know that it is testing my hope. So I got to move forward. I can't stand still anymore. I'm here. I'm at this place. I know as you said, I'm supposed to be in this place right now. Now it's time for me to go ahead, strap the boots on, put the jacket on, and let's go. Let's go.
So that word acceptance, I like how you use that. And if I'm hearing how you use that correctly, it is this idea that to be able to move past this point, you must accept the reality. You must accept reality as it is, rather than staying in this moment wishing that reality were different.
You can't change it. And that's the thing. I think we get lost a lot of times. I know I did. Again, I can't speak for everybody. I can only speak for myself. But you have to get to that point to where you can no longer look behind you anymore. You know, my grandfather always told me. He said, and you probably heard one of the same scenarios. Said, son, that mirror in front of you in your car is, or excuse me, the windshield in your car is a lot bigger than that rearview mirror. Isn't it? Yes, sir, it is. Why you think that is? Because you're not supposed to look back. You're supposed to keep your eyes ahead. So being able to take where you are, and again, man, it took a long time for me to accept, like that word, accept where I was at, to try to gravitate and quit questioning it. I mean, naturally we want to question it, but I got to quit questioning that and just say, okay, I'm accepting where I am. I know where my ultimate goal is. I know where things are lining up. So now let me just take the appropriate steps and pause. A lot of time, pause so I can move forward to what's really where I'm called to be or what I'm called to do.
It seems to me that people will push back a little bit on that because you talk about how to where you're supposed to be, to where you're going. And I find a lot of folks that I've talked with, and I've found myself at this point as well, sometimes it's like, where am I going? What am I doing? Where am I headed? And it would seem that the pushback to that statement, not that I disagree with it, is, yeah, but where am I headed? And how do I figure that out? And what would you say to that?
I would say it's you have to believe that I believe that me personally, I believe that your steps of where you're supposed to be will always be outlined for you, whether you accept it or pull it in and take advantage of it. There's going to be subtle cues along the way. I always believe that there's so many. I want to say it like this: some people can see, but not a lot of people have vision. And what I mean is you have to process exactly what's going on in your life for you to actually be able to take those steps forward and take that me out of it and realize what you're truly supposed to do. And once you take the me out, the selfish part out of it, the non-willing to learn out of it, then that's when things become a little bit more crystal clear. I always say that there's an old saying as well that I use a lot of times when I facilitate a workshop here in the Baltimore area. It's with young men and young women who a lot of them have been incarcerated. A lot of them have not found employment. And I sit down and do a 3-week training with them. And first week is on motivation. Is getting out of your own way so you can go on a way. The second one is the workforce development type piece of it, to where we teach you how, or we talk to you about the importance of, you're always being watched. And I use it again, use on acronyms, ABR, always be ready. You never know when you're gonna get that opportunity. So I always tell them all the time that if you're feeling uncomfortable, guess what? Comfort is a casualty of growth. So you want that to feel. Sometimes it's good to feel uncomfortable. That's a good feeling sometimes to make you take on those next steps. So it's truly about taking the you out of it and truly trying to accept where you're truly called to go. Is it tough? Absolutely, because we don't understand it. We're creatures of I want to know right now. I want to see it right now. And the fact of the matter is, if we see it right now, there would not be that hope at the end.
Okay, so you have not only your podcast that you do, but you've got a group that you facilitate. These have become part of kind of, at some point in time, you're like, and these are the things I'm supposed to do. Mm-hmm. So for you, how did you how did you connect the dots to knowing that these were part of what you should be doing?
An obstacle. Obstacle. In 2018, I was working as a career development specialist for a for-profit school. And one day I was inside the classroom, and it was in December of 2018. And I was giving a speech to young men and young women on the importance of elevator speeches, the importance of follow-up, the importance of dressing for success. And I go back to my office, and there is, of course, like everybody who inside their office, when they see that red light or that voicemail light in, I called it the money light. That meant somebody who was calling into our school to hire one of the graduates or potential graduates. So I picked up the phone, listened to the voicemails, wrote the numbers down, was getting ready to call them back. And my campus president knocked on the door and said, "Mark, I need to see you in my office." So like most of us, humanistically, we're thinking, sugar, honey, iced tea, if you know what I mean. We got to go to that office and hear what's going on, what's wrong. So we closed the door, and he tells us that our particular campus was closing their doors. And not only in the future, they're closing today. We're no longer in existence. And we have to be the ones to go tell the students. So it's not too far from Christmas, 2018. And
wow.
I'm like, what just happened to me? What just happened to me? My family we had planned a nice vacation with our grandkids. I hadn't picked up the phone and called my wife and told her I was no longer employed. So, there's so many different things that were running through my mind, so many different pressures of the woe is me, the 7 stages of grief. You're going through and wondering what should you do. And through that period of time, going through Christmas, I felt personally, I felt less than of, because I've always worked, I've always contributed, I've always had something that I was doing. And it just went to that idle time, that time to where I couldn't do anything. I mean, my wife was unhappy about me being employed, but I got my PhD taken care of. Projects half done. I got that taken care of. So she didn't have to worry about those anymore. But it was at that moment, man, I remember sitting down watching TV that I said, wait a minute. This is a period of time that actually can give me a time to do some self-reflection on what I'm truly called to do. This is a time to really have me sit down and put down some of my thoughts of where I needed to go. And I did it outside. It was January at that time. I'm in Maryland. The wind was blowing. It was cold. And I just thought about something. I said, I'm out here sitting in the air. And I thought about it. I said, yeah, I'm in the air. But I said, okay, Mark, what does it really mean? It means you got to go back to basics. You have to be accountable. You have to have integrity. You have to have responsibility. And you have to have respect. So that, Jason, is where this all started. And that's how I pretty much took this and started to just believing in myself, believing that I was called to do something a lot different than what I was doing before. And I had a message, man. I had a message that I had to get out there. I had to talk to people. I had to give them those, what I call the foundational tools to understand that it's okay. It's okay for things to happen. But if you believe in yourself, which is hard sometimes, been there, done that, got the t-shirt. But if you remain humble with those basics, if you remain accountable, if you have that integrity, doing those things that people that you do when people don't look, if you take on responsibility, be responsible for who you are, and have respect for everybody, man. That's your pillar. Things are going to continue to grow from there. So.
Wow, that was certainly a good time of insight that clearly set you on a different path. That seems mm-hmm. like. Do you feel right now that you're somehow fulfilling a purpose at a deeper level than you were before?
There's no doubt. Because had that not happened to me, I'd still been there, man. I just said it a little bit before. Comfort is a casualty of growth. I got comfortable. I got so comfortable going to work, and I got to go to work. We all got bills, right? But I felt so comfortable doing the same thing. Over and over again, interacting, love the students. I mean, I guess being able to interact with people and try to help them reach their goals has been a passion of mine for forever. But this was a time where I believe, a higher power. Me personally, I believe in God. I believe God said, let me shake you up a little bit, because I'm gonna take care of you, but I want you to trust yourself and go to the next level. And that's what this did. I mean, it really was an eye-opener, but it was one of the best eye-openers that ever could have happened to Mark and his family.
Yeah. Okay. So you said you've got your growth acronym, mm-hmm. and I will accept that from you. So I'll say we could probably agree on God. So I've got an acronym for you.
Okay.
We'll see what you think of this. You know those times in your life when you get to, it's like, WTF, like, what the fuck? Yeah. Right? Those moments when it's like, I don't know what else to say about this moment, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Here's my acronym. It's almost like WTF. It's actually TWF. I think the answer in those moments, and this is simplification, right, of probably what you could do at length, is number one, thankfulness. Mm-hmm. Hey, God, I'm so thankful that I could even come to this moment to consider what the fuck, all the great things, all the bad things that have brought me to this point. Mm-hmm. Thank you for that. And now, in this moment, I need your wisdom. Mm-hmm. And isn't there a truth that if any man asks wisdom, he gives it generously? So I need your wisdom in this moment. What do I do in this present moment? What's in front of me? And even if that means pause, right? Wait, just hang out, do nothing. Sit down, right? And then F, faith. Faith that when you act, God will have the outcome. Mm-hmm. God will produce the outcome. The outcome is not yours. Your present moment is to act as you see fit, mm-hmm. and trust that the outcome, the right outcome, quote unquote, right outcome, will be that. And what I've found is that in helping myself and others to find purpose is to continue to move forward, right? Take one step, and if that step is firm, then you take another step. Mm-hmm. And if that step is not firm, then you stop, and you might need to back up, right? And I think there is something in at least in my personality where I tend to create. I'm a good creator, and I will outcreate stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And when stuff isn't working, I'll just create something else to fix it, which is not the right answer. The answer is to stop doing what you're doing. Stop, just pause for a moment and unwind, go back to the last firm step, which I think is what you're talking about in those hands full of pillars. Like, how do you build that base? Because you can't really build on a base that's not solid. That's so right. Unwind whenever you find a next level next level people talk about, right? Whenever you find a level that is not solid for you, unwind, go back to that, or backtrack your steps, however you want to look at it. So yeah, my acronym is what the fuck.
I like that. I love it. So one of the other ones that it came to me as well, because again, I wrote I've written 5 series thus far. The first one was the foundation, and then after I got done with the foundation, I thought about something else that was key. Is I know from my own personal experiences, once I started to get my bearings again, then I know that something's around the corner. I mean, I know that I'm gonna see something that is going to trigger and say this hard work was good. But also when I came out of it, man, I realized, wow, what I went through losing that particular opportunity was called the perfect storm. That was the perfect storm. So I did, and inside the perfect storm, I really took the opportunity to think about what was holding me back. Again, self-assessment, right? Kind of like what individuals we've had an opportunity to do with COVID. We had a time to reassess where we were. So inside the perfect storm, I thought about what was it? What was really kicking you in your own butt? And I figured it out. It was pride. Because I didn't ask for help at the beginning when I lost my job. I was like, leave me alone. I got this. Then all of a sudden, again, I realized, wait a minute. You can work with an acronym for pride, Mark. That's please remember, ignorance destroys everything. So I got you today. I said, instead of taking a minute and asking people resources that I built over the years, why wouldn't I do that? That's stupid. That's insane. Why these people know people who know people, right? So why wouldn't I take advantage of that? Why would I allow this? Because when I mean destroys everything, it caused me to almost get to a spiral point, man, to the point to where I'm angry. We have animals. I've got 2 dogs. I love my dogs to death. I was very, I won't say volatile, but I was getting angry with animals for no reason. My wife would come in, give me a kiss, or want to do something. I don't want to. I just went into that funk mode. But again, as I realized it, man, that was the perfect storm. That was truly the perfect storm to get me to get moving and get myself uplifted and moving. And after I started that rebound and got to that, that place where even keel level, started to get back level and starting to feel who you truly are again, then I had to think about it, and I wrote my next series called Where Do We Go From Here? So that's kind of the building blocks of some of the things that I've experienced, man. And it's the same thing that everybody experiences. I mean, we all go through trials and tribulations. I say we don't have problems. We have situations, because again, I just outlined it. We are 100% capable of getting through it. It's how do you want to get through it? Do you want to get through it in a mindset or open mindset that Lord, what are you trying to teach me? I'm gonna embrace it. I'm gonna take it. I do have a choice. I don't have to take it, but I'm gonna choose to take it and take it humbly and know that you got a bigger plan for me, man. So
Yeah. Well, that's good stuff. I like how you talk about pride, and that spiral. And it seems that the opposite. So if pride were the one side of the coin, it seems that the other side might be shame. And so I recall a time in my life where just like you're talking about, it took me forever. I was well within the spiral. It took me forever to reach out to a friend of mine and say, "Hey, I need help." And it was because there were things under that which I simply was not able to ask for help for. I could not get past my own pride or shame, however you want to look at it, to simply say, I need help. And I think that a lot of people, we're all offered that moment.
mm-hmm.
What we do in that moment is very, very profound. That will reshape our entire future. It is a pivotal moment. Can you honestly ask for help? And it seems, I think this picture is true. Those of us who really hold on to that for just so long, right? Kind of like, we're going to white knuckle this thing. Mm-hmm. That same strength with which we white knuckle that, inability to ask for help is the same strength that then is released on the other side of that, is released for good. In assertiveness and growth and forward movement and doing things that change the world. Mm-hmm. And it feels counterintuitive, coming up to that point where it's like, yeah, but I'm supposed to hold on to this. Like, no, you're supposed to release it. Mm-hmm. And as soon as you release it, boom, all of that turns, your entire perspective, I think, has an opportunity to turn around.
Absolutely.
And you almost, it's almost like you just stumble into purpose, because all the chains, all the things that were holding you back from accomplishing the purpose, the thing that made you come alive, all of those are gone, or they start to fall away. They're not gone, right? They just start to fall away. You start to become, you are unencumbered gradually with those things, and it has the opportunity perhaps to produce joy. Mm-hmm. And I think that if there is an opportunity that people find in those moments of struggle, right? It's and walking into purpose or walking towards hope. It really is a lot of times found in that moment of being able to ask for help.
Mm-hmm. I always go back and think of as well as, and I talk about it all the time, and it's something that a person can easily beat themselves up with. And I did it until I, as you talked about, till I released it. Is life is, for all intents and purposes, man. Life is so simplistic. It's so simplistic. We convolute. We take it upon ourselves to take some of the things that are naturally supposed to happen, naturally supposed to evolve, and some of the pathways that we're supposed to take, and we just convoluted with so many things inside the Christmas. We're using Christmas as an analogy. Convoluted inside the shopping cart. We really don't need it. But we're going to throw it in there anyway, just because. But we don't. That's not what we're designed to do. Now, you mentioned the word purpose a lot, and I talk about that as well with the guys and gals inside the training. I said, one of the things I don't want you to ever forget is that you are purpose. You are purpose. You're uniquely designed. There will never be anybody else built like you, created like you, for you to take care of and embrace the world. But don't confuse purpose with platform, because those are two totally different animals. Take the God-given talent that you have and shoot for the things that you can get. And as there's that old saying that I tell them all the time, that knowledge speaks but wisdom listens. So surround yourself with individuals who are going to help you get rid of some of the scenarios, I'm going to say, that you are allowing to function and flourish inside your life. Take it simplistic again. Make it simplistic to where you're able to get to some of the things and reach some of the joys and happiness that you can. You got 86. We all got 86,400 seconds. We get that every day. 86,400. We get it. You can't. There's no do-overs. There's no carryovers. There's no well, I'm gonna pay you later. So once this day is done, it's done. You can't go. It's bye. It's done. So I just focus on doing the best and most that I can do every day. I try to talk to individuals who I come in contact with and give it your all every day. Go to bed drained. Go to bed tired. Go to bed tired because you effectively have worked your butt off to change some lives. And more importantly, you remained accountable. You utilize integrity. There's responsibility and there's a respect that came in with it. So.
I like what you talk about with purpose, that purpose is not, you said purpose is not your platform. That's right. And I look at, and a lot of times when people talk about purpose, it seems that they talk about, and I think this is what you mean by platform, kind of how am I working out? How am I currently working out my purpose? As though it's like, well, my job, I'm going to find purpose in my job, which is nonsense. You might be able to work out your purpose in your job, or your purpose in your relationships, but the working out of your purpose will change. And here's kind of the analogy I use. I when I speak to people, one of the things I really like to do is to pull on the thread in the sweater. It's like, okay, what's that thread that throughout your life every sweater you put on has always been made with that thread. And if you just like pull it, the whole thing unravels. And it's like, yeah, this thread made all of this happen. And then at some point in time, I might need to make a new sweater. I might need to change things up, but it's still going to be made with that thread. And I think it's easier to see that looking back, for sure. There comes a time when if we evaluate our experiences, these types of our purpose, let's say, can become more clear to us, right? Here's a for instance, and so I was out the other night at a local bar, just hanging out. I was pre-gaming karaoke, actually, was what I was doing, because I like karaoke. And this dude comes over from the slot machines, and he said something to me, and I said, oh. He says, yeah, well, just lost a couple $100. I was like, well, they are designed to take your money. And he's like, are you judging me? And I was like, not at all. Just recognizing the facts, just recognizing reality. He's like, well, my mortgage isn't gone, so that's good. And I was like, yep, that's probably real good. And he's like, so what do you do? And so we just talked back and forth for a little bit. And after probably 10 minutes of just like, it was almost like I don't know. He had some barriers up, right? He said he starts talking about his daughter and how his daughter got divorced, and he's celebrating 32 years of marriage. His daughter got divorced. Obviously, it was not something that she had wanted to do. She's got 2 young kids, and he says, I got this call, and my daughter says I need to come home because I need to be taken care of, and all of a sudden. He's in tears, and he's telling me about, his life. And he says, so, I come here once in a while to just blow off some steam. He says, I've got a good job. My wife makes great money. I make great money. But this is not the way we wanted life to be. And in that moment, I was like, oh, brother, let me tell you what I see here. I said, I see a man of such strong character that when his daughter needed him, he was like, this isn't what I expected for my life. But you know what? You come home, and I've got this for you, and I'm well taken care of. We have everything that we need, and of course you can come home. And he says, yeah, he's like, you know what? It's true. I get to see my daughter every day, and I get to see my grandkids every day, and they used to live out of state and all sorts of stuff. And man, I ministered to him in that moment. And then at one point in time, I was like, hey, can I pray for you? And he was like, no. And I said, that's okay. I'm gonna pray for you later. Anyway, and so, and he's like, and then we shook each other's hands. He's like, it's really great to meet you, and all sort of stuff. And I guarantee he wasn't looking for that moment. But it tends to be, and so it tends to be that if we begin to live out our purpose and look for our purpose, it tends to show up. Right. And and it almost comes out, it comes out of us, like sweat almost. It's just like it's all around us, and then we're presented with an opportunity, and in that moment, we can step into it with some power and authority, and really go about changing the world, just like in these little moments.
That's
And I
right.
think that has to get back. That gets back to, I think, the idea of purpose. Wherever you find yourself, your purpose is going to come out. If you reflect on what has been this thread that's been holding my sweaters together through the years, and that's how I'm going to bring it to the moment, because like you talk about, you got 86,000 some odd seconds. I'm going to bring it to this second, and whether I'm just going to go out and do karaoke, and also I find out like, that's why I'm here. All right, let's do this, right? For a guy who's down, right?
They say wisdom comes in the most unlikeliest places. The most unlikeliest places is when it happens, and it's not by accident. It's definitely not by accident. It was that time that we're supposed to be purpose given to, reminding him of. And I think that his particular situation, man, there's so many great things that I hear about, that he's fortunate enough that his child trusts him enough to say, Dad, Mom, I need to come home. He's fortunate enough and blessed enough to say that I have a roof over my head, that I can see and have my daughter and my grandkids come home and be there. And even more importantly, that his daughter was not harmed, that she was able to walk away safe and on her own with those babies. Man, that's a blessing. He hopefully he truly realized that was that whole scenario is filled with so many different things that are blessings, that hopefully he'll realize that one day. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, it gets back to your growth acronym, right? And that obstacles, he's coming to that moment as, I'm seeing all these obstacles, which I look at the outside, I'm like, wow, those are not obstacles in all cases. Like, you make great money and you're, and then as he looks back and he's like, yeah, those are, it seems like obstacles, but as I walk through this, man, the hope here is that I've got these great things in front of me. And so I'm gonna move through. I'm gonna move through to those things and go out with a spring in my step. We both left that moment feeling great, feeling better than we came, and a lot of times I think it is it's simply the recognition of a bit of thankfulness. To say, okay, well, all is not lost. And so I'm going to be thankful for all the stuff I've got here right now. And I'm going to use that. And there's got to be hope after that. But I do think, and I think it's fair that we touch on this a little bit. Hope, I think we need to unpack hope a little bit, because hope is a misunderstood word, I think, for some folks. And I think hope has to run deeper than, I think, deeper then, boy, I hope I get my job. I hope I have this. I hope I have that. I hope I have that. I hope I, get my Christmas presents in order and all sorts of stuff. That's not hope. So let's as we're, as our plane is coming down here in the landing field, let's talk about hope.
I know,
as we're closing out this year.
Some believe that faith without works is dead. So you have to put in work, or put in the true belief of something that is a substance to come. So you're right. You just can't have hope for Ed McMahon to knock on your door. I mean, it doesn't. Life just doesn't work like that. You have to have planted seeds all along your life, all along the course of your journey. I believe that we all are the CEOs of our journey. We can determine how great it is. We can determine, unfortunately, how terrible it may become. That's within our control. So to really believe that something is going to come to fruition, or have that hope that something will prosper or come to a visual, because again, we want to see it. Right? We want to see it. We want to taste it. We want to touch it, not just think about it. You have to truly believe that it is something that is within your grasp, and you have to be willing to give it your all to get there. So the gradual, You have to truly understand that what is happening to you, it's not just something that just all arbitrarily happened. There were signs of things that were going to come, which gave you your reminder. So there were reminders each step of the way that there was something that was brewing for that obstacle that you knew it was coming. You just failed to act on it. There were warning signs. You heard, but you didn't listen. You saw, but you didn't have vision. Then you got your test, because it was time. Now you're in the midst of that storm. You're in the midst of things going on. You're in the midst of frustration. You're in the midst of losing your head. You're in the midst of sleepless nights. And the hope at the end is knowing that, okay, I made it through these levels. I've made it through these levels. So I know what I've asked for, what I've driven for, what I've paid for, what I've sacrificed for, what I believe in. It's going to happen. I've paid the price for everything that needed to be done, because I took the opportunity to remember that a gradual reminder of that obstacle tested my hope. So now I'm a better person. I'm ready to go. I'm deserving of it. And I will never look backwards at that situation again to hold me back to getting to where I want to go. I put the work in. Now I believe it's coming to fruition. So that's what I would say on that one.
Good. I like that. That's interesting. I look at hope and think about the hope that is built only on me isn't very hopeful, because I've done a remarkable job screwing things up, and sometimes. And once in a while, I think, maybe I've knocked it out of the park. But I think that that's a bit of a fleeting thing, when hope that we derive from ourselves is the end all be all. I don't think that's hope. I think it's an illusion of hope, which ultimately drives us to be control freaks and narcissists. Because there is a it's a well-studied thing, and I heard this the other day. It's a well-studied thing that generosity, giving creates more value in the world than taking and amassing. And it seems like hope is something that we need to give to. It seems it costs us something. Right. And it costs us something in this moment to be able to have hope. And a lot of times that cost, to me, I find, is giving up control of that outcome. Right. It's I trust that if I act according to certain principles in this moment, that the outcome is taken care of, and that my needs are met, and my relationships are strengthened, and the stuff I have is there, and eventually, and my purpose, how I act out my purpose in the world, begins to unfold itself for me. It's almost like, was it Ben Franklin who said, "Luck favors the prepared"? And I don't know what his spirituality was, but there is something to that, right? That prepare yourself, be prepared, so that when opportunity presents itself, or when you need strength through an obstacle, you know how to act in that moment for something that's bigger and better than you. It's bigger than you. And I think that's one of the keys to hope. It's got to be something that changes the world. Like, Coffee with Humans, for instance, is a good example. I started Coffee with Humans because right at the beginning of COVID, I was feeling a little disconnected. I shouldn't even qualify that. I was feeling disconnected from people for a variety of reasons, personally and then just globally. And I saw it, and I felt this sort of resonate. And that's one of the things that I have sort of this sixth sense for reading people. And I felt like, wow, this is really resonating, that people are feeling disconnected almost to the point of despair in some cases. And I said, well, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to be taken down by disconnectedness and despair. Heck no. The one thing I can do is I can figure out how to connect people. And so I used all my tech knowledge and stuff. And I simply put out one LinkedIn message and said, hey, if you want to have coffee I said, I'm going to have 52 coffees this year. If you want to have coffee with me, I'll have coffee with you. Click the button. And the only rule, and then it's kind of rolled off my tongue, the only rule is no sales calls. Right. And I thought it was kind of catchy. And it wasn't even named Coffee with Humans. It was just, I'm going to have coffee with you. And And people started signing up just for that. I put them on Zoom calls, and then I didn't record the first one, and then I was like, oh, I should record these, and so I started recording them, and then taking excerpts of them, and then I started, and then after I did about 80 of those, I started live streaming them, and I said everybody's invited, and we're just going to do a live stream because it's like I'm having a live stream anyhow, but now I'm just going to tell you, hey, we're just going to live stream this thing, and now I'm 200, somewhere around 200 coffee calls.
Wow.
Into this, and there are times when in fact, a lot of times I've not pressed on the gas. I just let it ebb and flow. But the whole point of it, my impetus, the reason I did it, and I don't make a big deal of it on front end. The reason I did it is because I believe that when two people come together, we have the responsibility and authority to do three things. One, name whatever we want to do, whatever reality we want to have. If you want to make it a great day, you can do that. You want to make a terrible day, also can do that. If you want to go create something, you can go create something. That's the second one. We can create the things that move us forward and the things that we want to see. We can also create things that we don't want, that we're like, oops, shouldn't have done that. And then three, we have the opportunity to destroy things, either out of ignorance or because we don't need them anymore. You know, kind of like what got you here won't get you there. Hey, I don't need that thing in my life anymore. Destroy it. Gone. Right? So we have the opportunity to name, create, and destroy our world around us. And we can, and this is the platform. And I can tell you every time something good has come out of this, and I cannot even tell you what we're going to talk about because I don't know.
That's right.
I leave it open.
That's right.
But it's my intention, and I believe in terms of hope, it's beyond hope that we're going to have a great time here and we're going to change the world. And it might be your world, it might be my world, it might be one of our viewers or listeners.
That's right.
But we're going to change the world in this moment. Why? Because that's what we are to be about.
That's right. You know,
however you express that.
What you said is the same three principles that I say all the time. We're in control of the thoughts we think, the thoughts we visualize, and the actions we take. That's it. It's all wrapped up into that type of conversation, man. It's remarkable. It's remarkable. You're doing a wonderful job, man. Awesome job.
It's been super exciting. I mean, I remember one episode, and I can't remember exactly when this was, but these two guys got on and they were baked. And I thought, and that was unexpected for me. And I was like, I'm going to roll with this. Why? Because I have the skill of just being able to talk. And I went in with this with the intention that we're going to change something in the world here. And so we had a fine discussion. It was fun. It was entertaining, but it didn't feel super meaningful. Right? I just thought, well, it's fun and entertaining. Maybe that's enough. After the broadcast got off there, and then we're talking a little bit more. And the one guy says, I'm really struggling here with my job. And I was like, oh, interesting. And we ended up talking another 45 minutes or something there off the broadcast, not recorded, and like did job coaching and figured out how he could have some courageous conversations that he was super scared to have. And I was like, oh, yes, there's always going to be something. You get people together with the hope to change the world, and you can do it. That obstacle, the obstacle is, is the book, The Obstacle is the Way. And it seems to be true, right? Take that obstacle and move through it.
That's right. It's not there to hold you back. It's not there to keep you captive. It's there for you to step over, step around, and just push out the way so you can get to where you need to go, or where you're called to go. Yes. Okay. So we're butting up on the end of our time here. theprocessmarksmith.com is your website. Walk us through. So if people reach out to you, you do coaching or group work, or what's your thing? I do coaching. I do motivational speaking. I'm able to come in and do virtual speaking as well to groups, individuals, and platforms. One of the things that Jason, that I always I pride myself on, and I thought about this in the last series that I've written, which was called Procrastination, the Thief of Time. And in my last message in that, I thought about what is it truly about? What was 2021 truly about for me? And that was a hashtag that I use all the time is legacy changing in 2021 and beyond. But what does legacy mean? And for me, I just wrote it down. I said, okay, so legacy. Does it mean leaving something for my kids? Yes, that's part of it. Does it mean leaving something for my family, wife, kid? Yeah, that's part of it. No, legacy is about being able to be impactful to the world, giving messages, giving something that somebody can take and resonate, not today, but from generations to come. Effectively making change on those young individuals and those other individuals who still are feeling their way through life, to set the stage for them to know that you are going to mess up. You are going to. That's not an if. If it's not an if, it's when. So that's a fact. But take what you have and be a legacy. And I said in my writings, I said legacy stands for leaders exemplify greatness among choices over the years. Leaders exemplify greatness among choices over the years. So that's what the messaging is behind everything. And that's, in my opinion, that's what a legacy is. I have to, you have to, we all have to exemplify greatness among the choices that we make over the years. Were our choices smart choices? No. No. A lot of them were blunders, truly blunders. But we still came through, and we are able to give individuals some wisdom on how to get through.
Wow. You're the king of acronyms. That's it's good stuff. I don't know if you're making those up yourself or if they
no. I make them up.
Copying them.
And nope. Every single one I make up.
So when you're cooking dinner with your wife and you're just like doing something and you're like, hey honey, I got a good one. Like, and then and she's like, Mark, not now. Cook the steak.
I just, I thought about when I started writing, I thought about what is it that you can give individuals that will stick. They'll hear your message, but when they go home and if they try to talk about it or tell somebody else, they'll remember acronym of growth. They'll remember AIR. They'll remember, especially when you spell AIR with another R. They'll remember pride. They'll remember legacy. They'll remember why. They'll remember process. They'll remember all those things because you gave them something else that is broken down inside of each one of them that they'll think about and carry them on and get them through.
I love it, Mark. You have inspired me today. Thanks for bringing your wisdom to this moment, and thanks for following through. And whatever birthed in you when you're like, I'm going to get on this guy's video cast and chat with that guy. Thanks for doing that, because this has been a really great time.
Thank you, man. I appreciate all the work that you do for everybody that's out there. You're doing an amazing job. Keep doing what you do, Jason. You are changing the world.
I will accept that. Thank you so much, Mark. Well, to our viewers and listeners, this has been another hour with Coffee with Humans, a live streamed, raw, unfiltered video cast with my new friend, Mark. And we've learned a lot of different acronyms. If you're just now tuning in, go back, catch it from the beginning, and we'll catch you next time. Coffee with Humans.
One of the things I love about Coffee with Humans are the raw conversations I get to have, meeting new people just like you. If you or someone you know should be on Coffee with Humans, go to coffeewithhumans.com. Remember, the only rule is no sales calls.
This has been Coffee with Humans. Subscribe to get updates or click to have coffee with me. coffeewithhumans.com.